Hi, everybody. This is your humble host and friendly neighborhood therapist, Omar. I wanted to chat a little bit about this upcoming episode before it starts. I really messed up the sound here, to be perfectly honest. I really did my best. I screwed up the recording. The sound isn't as good. So I just wanted to come on here and apologize, but this is real. This is real life. So I really apologize for the poor quality, but the interview is so good. So I really do hope that you bear with me and that you stick it through and listen to this episode because I am really, really proud of it. You are going to love this week's guest. And yeah, I just wanted to come on here and say that. I know the sound is bad. My bad. Okay, without further ado, here's today's episode. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Pop Therapy, a podcast where we explore the intersection between psychology and pop culture. There's so much to unpack. So let's get started. Well, look who's back. Look who's come back to hear me yap on this little engine that could, aka my podcast. One thing that I wanted to talk about today was, so there's this phenomenon that I experienced like 2 years ago. And so I feel very okay with talking about it right now. Probably at the time I wouldn't have felt super comfortable, but 2 years ago, out of nowhere, and let me know if you've experienced this, folks. All the people, I'm exaggerating, a bunch of people who wronged me in my life came back and apologized out of nowhere, mostly through DMs, but a few text messages as well. And various wrongs were committed. Some of them were not big deals. Some of them I was like, oh, you really don't have to apologize for that. And then other ones I felt so vindicated and so yeah, that was a shitty thing that you did, or yeah, that did hurt my feelings, so I'm really glad that you apologized for that. And it was people from everyone from exes or people I dated to quote unquote ex friends and stuff like that, that just sort of came out of the woodwork and started apologizing to me for various things. Again, the feeling was everything from okay, that was nice, but I wasn't looking for an apology, to, oh, hell yeah, finally, I finally feel validated and vindicated. And that's just something that pops up into my head every now and again. Oh, remember that time when a bunch of people said sorry to you for all the things, for various, I was going to say for various betrayals. I'm exaggerating. Of course, it wasn't betrayals, but for various things. And I always just wonder about what is it in the air? Did they start therapy? Did they join a 12-step program? I know amends is often part of that process. And I never ask them that. I'm never so why are you apologizing to me? I just sort of don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm thank you so much. I appreciate your apology. God bless. And that's usually my response. Thank you for apologizing. I really appreciate it. I wish you all the best. And that's sort of it. I don't usually want to stay super engaged in that conversation. So I'm curious, if that's happened to anyone that's listening right now, this this sort of this weird, again, phase or stage or phenomenon when all of a sudden you're just getting a bunch of apologies. If you haven't experienced yet, it's on its way. That is, I really do think a lot of folks, I'm pretty sure, or I feel very confident rather, that this is something that everyone will experience if they haven't already. It's just randomly groups of people coming out of nowhere and being I'm so sorry. I will be asking our guest, who I'm about to introduce in 2 seconds, if he's experienced that. I'm really, really excited to get his thoughts on it. Guys, this is such a special treat. I hope you guys really appreciate our guest, and I was going to say, and all the hard work I did into getting this guest. I just asked him and he very kindly and politely said yes. And I messed up the time zones a bunch of times. So this is obviously, he has the patient of a saint. So I'll start out by saying he's a saint. He's a comedian, actor, singer, writer. Please welcome into your hearts, Eliot Glazer.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Hi. Have
Thanks for having
you
me.
of course, no, thank you so much for coming. Have you experienced this phenomenon that I brought up about the saying, so the sorries, like out of nowhere?
I was thinking about it when you were talking about it, and I'm pretty jealous because I haven't, and there are people from whom I would appreciate or have appreciated that kind of action.
Yeah.
Um, it's just weird. Like I've gone through some pretty traumatic breakups, like, and it all really started with them. Like
Yeah.
their behavior around it was really hurtful in a way. Like obviously a breakup is hurtful, but it was like pointedly hurtful
Yeah.
several times. And I've always hoped that a few like these it's like a couple of guys that they would maybe have this sort of moment of reckoning where it's like that was shitty of me. Like maybe we needed to break up, but the way that I handled it was kind of vindictive and unkind,
Mm.
but also
Oh, I'm
just in
sorry.
general, like, yeah, I
That's
mean,
awful. Yeah.
yeah, it sucks, but I time in therapy has of course helped heal those wounds, but
Yeah.
ultimately it's like, God, when you were saying like betrayals and wrongs and wrongdoing, I'm like, yeah, for me, there's never been anything that's like, I don't know. For some reason I think about like music and music video from like the 90s and 2000s and like I guess some 2010s when like a big trope was like he cheated on me or like he lied or like
Right.
I got to check their text messages to see if they're cheating. And
Yeah.
it's like I've never experienced that kind of like dramatic wrongdoing, and the way it was sung about in pop songs and hip hop was so commonplace that I was like, am I doing something wrong by not
Right.
having these like conflict filled tropes just hit me in every relationship I would have? But ultimately, it's like to me, the only experience of wrongdoing in that sense is like being treated in a really patronizing way in terms of a breakup.
Yeah.
That and also just like, I don't know, I wouldn't say wrongdoing, but like friendships falling apart. And like
Mm.
one time a friendship fell apart and I was totally in the wrong and really embarrassed. And I was like, I need to write her and tell
Oh, that's
her,
great.
but why not? Like,
Yeah.
why not? Like, she deserves this. And like, I was an asshole.
Yeah.
I was a jerk. And she was appreciative of that. And of course, we didn't like pick up where we left off by any
Sure.
means, but I felt better knowing that at the very least, she could get some, I don't know, relief or grace or something out of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I always, well, not always, but I often tell people it's never too an apology is always appreciated, like no matter when it is, and it's not necessarily that it's going to lead to reconciliation in like the best way, right? Like you said, you and your friend didn't pick back up again, but I don't know, I can't imagine not appreciating an I'm sorry for something, no matter what, when it's being
Totally.
offered to me. I'm like, yeah, yeah, of course I'll take it. Like when you said that mean thing to me, just like, sure, 10 years later, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
totally
and there's a difference between like there's a difference to me between an apology, where it's like acknowledging how you did wrong, and the apology of just saying, I'm sorry because you have to do it, like a little kid being punished.
ooh, I
Say,
see.
you have to say, I'm sorry. But adults do that where they're like, I'm sorry. And it's like, they're clearly not sorry.
They're right.
And it's not about just the words. It's like, do you actually regret and have you reflected on why what you did was actively hurtful to me or
Hurtful.
unkind or painful or whatever it is? Like, have you reflected on that, like, and that to me is the other big part of it. It's like it's like to your point, it's like an apology that comes 10 years later is almost more appreciated than a momentary
Totally.
one where it's like, oh, they're just saying I'm sorry because they have to, versus
Right.
10 years later, it's like, I've really reflected on this
Yeah.
and I've thought about your feelings and
Right.
how that relates to me. And I
Right.
am really sorry for how that went down. And for
That's
on my part, not I'm sorry for the way things happened or I'm
right.
sorry that
Yeah.
you feel
You
this
feel
way.
that way. Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that to me.
Don't you
Like
dare. Yeah.
just
That
turn
is not an
around.
apology. I am, just so everyone, just so we're clear, I'm sorry you felt that way is not an apology. I'm sorry
No.
you took it that way. I'm sorry you felt that way. That is not an apology at
Yeah, it's
all.
like, no, 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 no. You don't have to apologize for that because that doesn't lay blame or credit in either way. It just makes me sound stupid.
Right. It's also, you're commenting on my behavior. The
Exactly. You're
apologies
disagreeing
about
with
is
me.
about what you did. Right.
Right.
Right. Don't worry about my
Yeah,
reaction
I'm
to it.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm good. I'm
I'm all
telling you what
set.
my reaction is.
Right. And also, not only am I good, but I'm okay with I'm okay with the fact that I was hurt. Like,
Yes,
I'm not confused about that. So you don't
I'm
have
not
to
confused.
apologize
Thank
for
you.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like them it's weird. It's like they're like contextualizing your behavior for you. If not just commenting on it alone. And it's like, don't comment on it, like take responsibility for it or don't. Or
Right.
don't take responsibility for it and be like, "No."
Right.
But just don't say I'm sorry you feel that way. That is such a pain. That is so
Oh, I
triggering to
I
me.
would rather hear nothing. I would rather the
Nothing.
person double down and say, and
Exactly.
I
That's
would
what I'm
do it
saying.
again. I would
Exactly.
rather that
Yes,
for
that's
sure.
clarity, that's pointed, it's like it's actually more respectful to say that because you're just being honest
Yeah.
versus this weird sort of in between thing that I just can't stand.
Right. Yeah, it's disingenuous, it's insincere, and I mean, again, like to your point, it doesn't it takes the focus off of your own behavior and makes it
Yeah.
about the other person again, which is like that's not how you build, and I'm sorry. That's just
No.
like not gonna work. That's one of the
Yeah.
things I look for in a human being, whether it's like a dating or friendships. That's one of the things I look for is like, how do they apologize? And that's like one of my assessment things that I look for.
Yes.
How do they apologize, and do
Do
they
and
do it?
also do they
Do they?
apologize?
I mean, do they even? Oh, yeah, that's step number one. Do they
Yeah.
apologize? And
Yeah.
step number two, how do they formulate the apology? I think is crucial. Like that tells you so much about the person and whether or not they can take responsibility and like reflect internally on stuff.
Yeah, I think like for me as I've gotten older and specifically like entered my like as soon as I turned 40 really, around then I really sort of turned a corner in I know it's such a buzzword now and it's so commonplace, almost cliche to talk about empathy, but
Mhm.
like I have that's kind of how I mean I've always been pretty sensitive. I think a lot of gay people are, but
Mm.
I've always been sensitive to the idea of being taunted or bullied or whatever.
Mhm.
And so when people hurt somebody else, so when somebody hurts somebody else actively and knowingly or not, I'm just like I just have so much empathy for the person who is hurt because I
Yeah.
know I know how that feels as somebody who
Right.
has been hurt. But I also can't believe that we're in a time where like comment sections and
Mm.
social media and the president of the United States like inflict so much vitriol at other people.
Yeah.
And it's so again, it's like I'm speaking in such cliches, but it's like it feels so bad. It
Yeah.
feels so toxic and dark,
Vile.
and they're
Like the word that
and
keeps coming up
vile.
for me is vile. Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It's vile, and it's so encouraged by the algorithm and by the ability to have an anonymity online. And it's just kind of the genesis of conversations and how they be like that's it just festers online in
Yeah.
all different mediums of like blogs or Instagram or comments or like it could be anywhere online. It's just like
Right.
I guess it's the like solitude of you and a screen that makes it sound even more amplified
Right.
or easier to be
Or
that kind of
easier to
person.
be.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I
I but
was
I just yeah, I just think it's so it's so awful. And so that's kind of where I feel like nobody nobody at least in like online that there nobody leaves room for apologies. They're
Yeah.
like
Oh
nobody
yeah.
is apologizing in a comment section and they're doubling down. But I can't believe that I see that in politics and government at the highest level.
Right. That's supposed to be like where the quote unquote grown-ups are. Yeah. I mean,
They're
with
not. I mean, it's a playground. It's
it's
like and the
I
people in
mean,
power
it
are
is a
bullies.
shit show of a playground. Yeah. Which, the point you made about like you being on the receiving end of being hurt, and so you have empathy for the people that are hurt is so true. Uh, and also because of that, when I've hurt someone's feelings, I feel it is
Terrible.
all encompassing. It is,
Me too.
it's like so heavy to know that you hurt someone's feelings.
It's so heavy, especially if you can't apologize. Like, if there's some reason the person doesn't want to hear it,
Oh
which is
my gosh.
understandable, and you want to
Yeah.
give them, it's like that festers in me too. It's like I can't. I hate the idea of hurting somebody's feelings. I
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah.
Can't
Even
sit
if
with
it's
it.
unintentional, which it
Of
usually is,
course.
even that offers me no relief from the
Nope.
intense
Not
guilt
at all.
that I feel. Yeah. And
No.
these online platforms are, it's all like by design. You know what I mean? It's not created for apologies like that. It just,
I honestly think it started in. I think all of this started in like the algorithm changing in like around 2012, I guess, when
okay.
the guardrails sort of came off, and like I think the algorithm started rewarding, um, extremist, salacious
Rage
headline like
baity.
rage bait, and
Yeah.
but that I think between that and comment sections, I think those things combined kind of were the sort of seedlings in which this garden of like weeds grew, in
Yeah.
which people felt newly emboldened to attack. And
Yeah.
before that, it was like, op-eds, or like writing the editor of like a paper or something, to express your opinions, or calling into a radio show or something.
Right.
And it was still in that regard, it was still sort of like a somewhat um there was some sense of like etiquette, or
Right.
civility to
Yeah.
even if you were mad, you would
Right.
call into a talk show, or like a political talk show, or you'd be on even like a shitty talk show, a trashy one,
Yeah.
and yet there was still some semblance of listening,
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth, a
There were still like
dialogue.
rules of engagement. I don't
Yes,
know that
rules
everyone
of engagement.
like agreed upon
Yeah,
silently or tacitly, right? And but yes, agreed. It
a
still felt
baseline civility of at
yeah,
least
yeah,
a conversation happening,
right,
whereas now it just, you look at like slop, like on X or whatever, and it's like it is literally only bullying and name calling, and
yeah,
like there's no rules. It's so violent, it's so dark, and it's just so depressing to have gotten there, I think, to
yeah.
have, to be like a or not a digital, like to be a geriatric millennial or whatever it's called, where I live through analog
Three, four,
and
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Before,
internet.
during, and after, yeah, yeah,
Whereas like someone who's, slightly younger, even only slightly younger, has much more experience as like a digital native, more or less.
yeah,
And there's like a quickerness to accept this sense of, I don't know, like maybe not accept, but like normalize this sense
for
of
sure, yes. Like, oh, I
of
guess it's just the Wild West out
conversation.
here. It's just
Yeah.
vile and despicable,
I
and
mean, I can't even think, like, I mentor a kid who's 13, and I'm like, "Oh, he's only grown up
oh my gosh,
with
right,
this.
right.
He only knows this." Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that is that. I mean, what has it been like to mentor a 13-year-old? I can't imagine. I mean, it sounds it sounds so fulfilling, to be quite frank, like not to
Yeah.
be corny about it, but it does. Is
Yeah.
it through like a Big Brother program
Yeah, big
or
brother, big sister, yeah.
okay. So when I called you a saint earlier, I was spot on. Okay, fair enough. Okay, got
Oh
it.
my god.
Fine, you're going to heaven. I get it. Okay.
How is it? It's interesting. I mean, it was really fun early on. He's a very still very shy, sort of, not forlorn, but a little bit introverted,
Hmm.
and always has been. But it's been fun to push him a little bit, to see him find some sense of like of being able to let go of inhibition a little bit when we
Yeah.
find things that really light him up, like a certain museum, or like
Yeah.
a certain exhibit, or I took him like whale watching once, and he like was
Oh my
loved
gosh, you
that,
must have been blown away by that.
blown away.
I'm blown away by that as an adult
Yeah.
whale
Yeah, it's
watching.
incredible.
Yeah.
It's genuinely incredible, but, like, I don't obviously, he'd never done that before, but, like, just trying to take him out of because he comes from a very low income household and
Mhm,
background, so
mhm.
I'm just trying to, I don't know, it does it's to, like, expose him to things that he
Yes.
won't otherwise be exposed to.
Right.
And so the few times that I've taken to the theater, that also kind of like blows his mind, you know?
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the best part of it is being able to A, show up regularly and B, have a presence in his life.
Mhm.
But the reward is also getting to see him where he flourishes and then saying, like, all right, I'm going to encourage that as we continue this because I would like, I would love to have a small part in helping him build what will hopefully and potentially be a rewarding, a rewarding life based
Yeah.
on what actually interests him and impacts him.
It must be so lovely to see these things through his eyes, to see, because you know
Yeah.
you are no stranger to the theater. You've seen, you've performed, and it must be so refreshing and um just like it's like a good reminder of, oh yeah, art is so important.
Yeah.
This is amazing to watch. So to see him light up
Yeah.
watching a performance just must be awesome
Yeah.
for you to like experience
It's
that
great.
vicariously through him.
It's great because he is rather shy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so to be able to break through those moments with him where he's like wants to talk about it or like listen to the
Oh,
music
that's
afterwards
so
is like
cool.
so wonderful.
Oh, that's lovely. I think that's a really good
Yeah.
segue into one of the things I wanted to pick your brain about, which is, so on your Instagram, I've noticed you've been posting these videos of yourself and your sister
Yeah.
performing. I mean, first things first, so adorable. It's also so
So
wild.
cute.
Like, the two of you look exactly the same. It is
Yeah.
wild to see
I
that.
know. I know.
What prompted you to share this with your followers, and what has it been like as an adult to look back on that and to hear? I mean,
Yeah.
it just must be, I don't know, hearing you talk about mentoring a 13-year-old just got me thinking about like, oh my gosh, and you have this relationship with your younger self now that's like
Yeah.
also kind of happening. Yeah, talk to me
Yeah.
a little bit about that.
It's complicated. I mean, I think for me, it's like, anybody could like upload, I think, digitize or upload home movies. I think I'm just saying, I keep saying I think because I don't want to sound presumptuous about any of this,
Yeah.
but like I grew up with, a lot of home movies and
Mhm.
I watched them sort of like I would watch regular stuff on TV and like movies, but I would also watch these home movies obsessively.
Mm.
Um, and I think of that now being like, that's so interesting. I don't know. I wonder what it was that drew me to watch family movies and home movies over and over and over and
Huh.
over. Maybe I found them comforting.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is exactly, but
Was that always the case? Like for as
yeah,
long as you could, you would watch these movies over and over and again?
yes,
So this isn't just like
yeah.
recently. This
No,
is
no, no. As
oh,
a kid,
fascinating. Okay.
and my grandpa, who I was like wildly close to, and just like, just my like just the greatest, like, just the fucking greatest. He got a camcorder pretty early on and shot everything and was, like, just like me, meticulously neat, meticulously organized to a point
Yeah.
that's, like that can, like, spin you out, unfortunately, but,
Yeah.
he kept everything meticulous, everything was labeled with calligraphy, and so I was just so into that, like, I copied him completely, and so the crazy thing is that with his camcorder, he would shoot his own solo sketches, like,
Work.
literally,
Hell
his own
yeah.
solo sketches as characters, and he was doing, like, political satire as, like, a news anchor, like, you wouldn't believe it, and he would
Wait,
set up a
that's
whole
fascinating.
it's brilliant, and he called it KRAP TV, and I was like, "This is the greatest thing that's ever happened," and so
I
I
saw that
sort of
KRAP TV on your videos. Was that
exactly.
him or was that you?
That was me just commandeering his
Oh,
work.
that is so cute.
It's so cute, and it's so, like, evident of, like, that one-to-one, just, like,
Yeah.
generational handing down 2 generations apart, him handing down, like, my personality to me, quite honestly, and so I commandeered our camera and made Ilana made her genuinely, like, made her my, like, muse, actress, student, protege,
Yeah.
like, she was in everything, although she was very much a willing participant because she was hammy too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
definitely, like, the director but anyway, all that to say that, yeah, we already had, like, a ton of home video. But then once I got hold of a camera, I shot so much stuff,
Oh my
so much
gosh.
stuff.
Yeah.
And the camera that we had was unique in that you could edit it in real time. You could edit
Whoa,
back,
that's
yeah, you could
cool.
edit a frame backwards or forwards. And so I was making movies in a linear fashion, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. Yep.
It had like cheap graphics, but they worked. So all that to say that I was like obsessively making movies and filming things. And so they were all so um nuts and specifically weird, like
Uh-huh.
really just weird, not in like a cute kid way. They are cute, but in
They
a way
are
that's like,
cute.
what's going on in those kids' brains? Like,
Yeah.
how are they getting there? And so ultimately, I wanted to digitize everything. So my sister and I digitized all of our home videos,
Okay.
all of them, like from like really old ones, silent ones to the ones my grandpa took, the ones my dad took, and then all of the ones that I made with Alana and without Alana.
How long did that
And for
take? I mean, I'm assuming there was
yeah,
so much
weeks.
footage.
Yeah, it was weeks, and we sent it to like a warehouse facility
Okay, gotcha.
here in LA. And ultimately, I with them all digitized, I was like, I gotta like this stuff is so good. It's like pre-YouTube without like
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, it would so easily go on YouTube now, but it would be, dangerous because
Yeah.
I don't want the kids on making content on YouTube is already kind of can be frightening.
Yeah. It's very
Um,
all that. For like
Very all that.
very all that.
It is very Nickelodeon, like, and that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
was so influential on all of it. The sense of humor, the
Totally.
way that things were shot, even like you could even see in the way that we would shoot things that it would have like a sort of cable cable
Yes.
TV, yeah,
Yep.
as aesthetic and like, vibe and background, just framing things and zooming in and zooming out and side angles, like, very MTV. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so I started putting it up because it's just so cute, and I just would edit them together pretty quickly in, like, CapCut or something, and people lost their minds, which was so lovely
Mhm.
because it validated that it was like, "Oh, these aren't just, like, home movies. These are as unique and special as and weird as I and my sister think they are."
Yeah.
They're sweet, they're weird, they're gonzo, like, they're a little bit of everything. They're nostalgic, but they're also just, like, very queer and very, like
Yeah. Yeah.
very queer, um, but yeah, people totally have connected with it, and told me in real life how much they love it, like, experiencing that versus experiencing somebody being like, "I love Broad City," or "I love New Girl," or whatever it's different because it's like, you don't know who's seeing what and when, but it's
Right.
just fun to put up these old home videos and sketches and see that it just, for whatever reason, makes an imprint with people.
Oh yeah. It's also I think in a time where we're getting so much content thrown
Oh
at
my
us
god.
constantly, this is one of the few things that I would consider truly wholesome. It's just
Yes,
two kids not being forced to do anything by their parents, not trying to like
exactly.
make money, not trying to become
Nope,
famous. Not that
nope.
whatever. There's nothing wrong with trying to be famous. Like, fine, have at it. But it's just nice to see two kids, like, you're just being kids.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, the thing is, I think that bums me out or weirds me out now at this age is that everything has there used to be this sort of like caste system
Mhm.
where it was like movie stars, TV
Yeah,
stars, like C-list stars, then
right,
reality like
right.
there was this a very traditional hierarchy, and movie stars made a lot of money, and you'd go see movies as an event. TV stars made less money. Like it was a pretty just specific hierarchy. And now that everything's been flattened in a way where movie
For
stars
sure.
don't have the same power, where movies themselves don't have the same power,
Mhm.
where TV is so democratized. Like it's become a meritocracy for better or worse, where everyone, and I just saw this quote in like a newsletter I was reading the other day, everyone is quote unquote on TV.
Yeah,
Everyone is performing.
yeah.
So to your point, it's like the idea of like kids being either made to do this by their parents, wanting viewers, wanting sponsorship. It's all or not at that none of them at all. If it's even just my mom posting pictures of like her vacation,
Mhm.
it's still like it's like you're on TV, or I think of Instagram as being like, I call it me magazine,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like, this is my life. This
Yeah.
is big Photoshop shoots of me. This is
Right.
the way you share yourself is very edited and
Yeah.
curated, and I'm just as guilty of that as anybody else, but it's, um it's so weird, and it's so unnatural, and it's so, uh, uh unfortunately to me, it's like, it's a real bummer. It just bums me out.
Yeah.
It bums me out because it
Yeah,
takes
I hear
away
ya.
any craftsmanship out of anything that's meant to be, like, entertainment.
I think that's why I think it bums a lot of people out. I
Yeah,
think
I think
that's
so
why
too.
content that feels in earnest, just like wholesome,
Yeah,
strikes a different chord. There's something
yeah.
about it. Again,
Candid.
yeah. Candid, and sincere and earnest, and like there's just so much of that is we don't get a lot of on
Wait,
Instagram.
you know what I was thinking about recently? I didn't even watch the show that much, but remember how popular America's Funniest Home Videos
Oh my God,
was?
yes, yeah,
It was so
it
popular
was
and, like,
huge, right?
huge, but think about how that was none of that was for show. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
being goofy
right,
or candid moments that are hilarious, none of it was for show or for public consumption.
right.
And now it's the total opposite where everything is
Uh,
for public consumption, forward facing, everything.
yeah.
And I think I personally I've gravitated toward the weirdest niche of content, the weirdest niche, which is like
Oh, this is
Karens and like
I can't wait. You can't even. You're cracking up before you even say it.
I
I'm
love these, like, I love public meltdowns and, like,
yeah,
people throwing insane tantrums at drive-throughs and, like,
yeah,
fast food restaurants
yeah.
and malls or whatever, like, people becoming not irate, becoming, like, actual, like,
Feral.
monsters, feral monsters. I think it's so fascinating because it's like, that's not for show. That should be
Yes,
embarrassing.
that's
It's
the
not
thing.
acting.
It's still candid. It's still on it. It's still earnest. It is.
Yes.
It is still
It's
earnest. Yeah,
true earnestness, and,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
even, like, I feel like, it's very gay it's very, like, popular with, like, queer people and especially gay guys, I think, to watch The Real Housewives, and
yeah.
I used to love New York early on and, like, even, like, some of Jersey because it reminded me of coming from Long Island, like, that genuinely is the same
Oh
thing,
yeah.
that
Oh
sort of, like, tacky excess, um but now, I have no interest in any of them now. I have n
yeah.
essentially have had no interest since the shows became the housewives became
Like
self-aware
aware.
enough of how to
Yeah,
act on
yeah.
camera. Dress like drag queens, they all have the same, like, faces now.
Right.
It's acting. It's a version of acting.
Yeah.
And so, I know people like, friends of mine are like, "You have to watch Salt Lake City," and I'm like, I just I
What's the
it's
pitch
acting,
when they
though.
tell you you should watch Salt Lake City? Is it because they're like, Elliot, it's back. It's back to how it used to be. That's why you should watch it. Like what is
My
so
friends who have
compelling
said
for
so are
them?
like, if there isn't, they're like, there's a level of like reality to it where these women aren't as, um, I don't know, I guess the drama and the stakes feel more real, but I just can't really buy it. I just don't really buy it. I just don't think it works that way anymore. And like for me, there's a certain joy in like season two of like Real Housewives of New York where like, nobody's really nobody like they're still wearing like coral blouses and like like they have like regular teeth, or
Right.
like this first season of Jersey where they're all fighting over a book, like a book. They're fighting over a book, and like Teresa's face looks human, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like and they're all just openly themselves in a
Yeah.
way that's like, "Oh, you guys are just, like, aggressive," and it's like
Right.
it's all about, like, Italian temper, essentially,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's so interesting, but then as the show moves on and they all sort of, the way that I see it, sort of coagulate into the same thing, that everybody is, like, fighting, and it just follows the same formula, and I wish I could watch it and really enjoy it, but
Yeah.
it just feels like a level of performance, like, even, like, they're doing The Housewives of Rhode Island, I think,
Okay.
and I was like, "Oh, I wonder what that, like," because New York was about class,
Yeah.
and Jersey was about, like, family or
Family.
whatever,
Hmm.
and I know every franchise has to be a little
Has
bit
its like
different, and I
theme.
was
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, Rhode Island, like, I know that's pretty Italian,
Okay.
and I know they're like jerseys on pause or something, or maybe they're retooling it,
Okay.
but I was curious to see what that vibe would look like, and I watched the preview for it, and yeah, I have to say, like, I was disappointed because again, it's like I think it's supposed to be Italian. It's not like New England vibes per se,
Right.
but it just feels like, oh, these people know how to act as a
Yeah.
housewife on camera, and for better or worse, they all have ordered the same face, and I
Right.
cannot tell them apart.
They have
It's
the
really
same doctor
upsetting.
ordering the same face. You're right.
It's so upsetting, and then people in real life have adopted that face, like,
Yeah.
regular everyday people have adopted those faces and, like, plastic cosmetic surgery that it's become so commonplace that it only feeds more into the idea that we're all celebrities or we're all on our own TV show or have our
Right.
own magazine. And there's something about it that weirds me out and bums me out and keeps me sort of at arm's length from
Yeah.
fully engaging in social media. I've kind of frozen on it for a minute.
That is maybe the number one critique, complaint about Housewives, reality TV in general, but specifically the Housewives, because I think they built such a like strong fan base, and I hear this from Housewives super fans over and over again that they're too aware. They're all
Yeah.
their own like mini producers
Yes.
producing them
Fully.
themselves,
Fully.
which makes a lot of sense. The
Of
other,
course it does. Yeah.
yeah, and the part of it too that I think is also worth mentioning when I have these like conversations is I kind of get it because fans also be nuts out here. I
Of
mean,
course.
you wear, I don't know, you wear an outfit with clashing patterns and you get death threats like
Of
to
course.
your
And
DMs.
it's like,
And I'm like, yeah, this is why we
who
can't have nice things,
yeah.
because these ladies can't kind of make a fool of themselves or look a little bizarre or whatever without getting absolutely just dogpiled on.
Yes. And but what's interesting about that is it's like, well, at what point have you sold yourself to the devil because you are signing up for something like this is to the only thing you are selling is yourself,
Yeah,
what you look like, how
right.
you behave, how you dress. And so both parties are, I hate to say, like guilty in that because
Yeah.
the
Yep. Yep.
transaction
Hmm.
is meant to be fully reciprocal and transparent that it's like you want to be on the show, then you are going to get decimated
Yeah.
by people
like
because
like
ultimately they're not
actually
like
decimated.
yeah,
For
and
real.
not because of a book you write or an album you put out or some people's piece of art you create. It's because you wore this, you look like this,
Yeah.
or you behaved so poorly.
Yeah.
In which case, it's like, well, that's even more. That's even like less just because you. It's literally like you are a terrible person.
Right.
You're gonna
Yeah.
get decimated in comments and DMs because you are actively a terrible person.
Right. Which
And that's like, woof,
it really
that's
does
mind
surprise
bending.
me. I mean, I don't know what to make of it. Maybe you have more of an understanding. But when when someone behaves terribly, and I mean not terribly, I mean saying something absolutely vile or doing something so incredibly deceitful, I'm like looking around and I'm like, do they know the cameras are on them? Like,
Right.
how do they think this is going to be received
When
exactly?
I feel like when people say, like, "You forget the cameras are there," it's like, how?
How,
How can you forget the cameras are there when there's lighting, you've been glammed up, there's
yeah.
producers, you're surrounded by people.
Yeah, you're
I don't
sewn
how do
into
you
your dress. You
you
yeah,
yeah, how do you forget? I understand maybe forgetting I don't know. I don't know if I'd even understand forgetting, like, way, way, way early on in reality TV, but
sure.
now more than ever, I'm like, you're hyper aware because everything is connected. You being on a show is equal to you trying to get sponsorships on your social media. Like it's all
Yes. Yep.
cyclical.
Yep.
It all works together.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. I don't know how there would even be a naivete about
Right.
acting that way on camera and not being responsible for your own actions and
Yeah.
being recorded doing it for the
Right.
rest of time.
Right.
Blows my mind.
I mean, and this is not an indictment on anyone who watches reality TV as it is. I I came up from the like OG like real world era. And
Yeah,
that to
same.
me felt like I loved that. And then around Vegas is when, and I
That's
didn't
when
put
yep,
language to it, but
yep.
hearing you talk now, I'm like, oh, that's what it was.
That's when it
Around Vegas is when I
changed.
stopped. And
Yep,
it's
me
because,
too.
oh, they know they're
They're
on
acting.
camera, they're performing. And it's hard for me to tell what's a performance and what's sincere and who is
And
this
also they're
for.
meant to be in a spot like Vegas where it's like, oh, they're not in a normal place. They're
Yeah.
in like a they basically like live in a casino
Right.
and they're
Oh my god,
essentially
that's right.
being pushed to be like horny.
Right.
All the horny and bored
Right.
and young and hormonal. And it's like, but that's different than people being in New York or San Francisco,
Yep.
or wherever they were, Philly. I watched Philly for some reason earlier this year,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
was like,
you did a rewatch
yeah,
of
and I
it? Yeah.
loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it because it's like these people have like normal teeth.
Right.
Their faces are normal.
Oh
Their
my
skin
god,
is
normal teeth.
normal.
Remember normal teeth? Yeah.
Normal teeth, like remarkable. But also, they don't really know exactly how to. They're not acting.
No.
They're not acting. Even like what's interesting is Karamo from Queer Eye is on
Uh-huh.
it,
Yep.
and he even back then is very cognizant of his place as a gay guy who doesn't want to be seen or perceived as weak or I think effeminate.
Yeah.
And now I feel like in even approaching that topic would make you bait for people calling you self-hating homophobe or
Yeah. Oh my
homophobic or
gosh.
whatever it is.
So
And he's
true.
just being real and it's so interesting. It's so interesting.
That season, correct me if I'm wrong, that season, it was like the first time there were two gay men on The Real
Uh
World. Is that?
yeah, two,
There was
two.
there was another guy too. I think a Latin guy that was
Yeah, yeah.
the other
Willie,
gay
that was his
one,
name.
and and like everyone was like, "Who's the second gay one?" And no
Yeah.
one clocked Karamo. No
No,
one.
nobody.
They were actually shocked when it turned out to be
Yes.
him, and it's
And it just
so
shows how
fascinating
different
to
the
think
time
about.
was.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Like they
wild to
both
think about.
they don't really get along at first and they like
Yeah, that's
go
right.
to a club together and doesn't they don't like they're not vibing in the same way at this club and it's
Right.
like it's true. It's just like it's so different and that's even now I'm like I'd love to see more conversations about that. But
Yeah.
it just feels like novel. It feels novel for then, but unfortunately it's still kind of novel for now.
Right.
Where
I wonder if it's possible to ever get that back again. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It
I don't know either.
feels impossible.
Yeah.
I just feel like we know too much. We know
Yeah.
too much and too much has been said and done and there's too much money involved now and
Yeah.
um and I think like the genie's out of the lamp, so to speak. Like,
Yep.
it's like, oh, okay,
Yep.
it's out. I mean, I don't think anyone would go on a reality TV show without understanding, oh, I can leverage this into
Totally.
some kind of a career.
I'll be completely honest with you. I have not watched one episode of anything related to The Bachelor. Not
Yeah,
one.
same. Same.
I could I could not in a million years understand the I don't want to say appeal because everyone's got different tastes, but
Sure.
the ability to um what's the term about that I'm trying to the easy suspend your
Uh-huh.
belief,
Uh-huh.
suspend your disbelief, I guess, about a show where the question is, will this bachelor find love locked in a house with like 20 women? And the idea is like they are all supposed to walk in and do what? Quote unquote, fall in love with him and
Totally.
he with her. And like it's such a strange to me, it's such a strange foundation
Yeah.
for forget about like life. That's even a strange foundation for a TV show to me.
Right.
Because we're talking about aren't they supposed to get married? Like,
Yeah.
isn't the expectation that when somebody says you're not here for the right reasons, well then is the right reason that you are like I don't know what the wrong reason is, but is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the right reason seems crazy to me if the right reason is going into a house and quote unquote falling in
Falling in
love
love.
immediately with a guy, one
Mhm.
person, and fighting other people for him. Like it makes no sense to me. I have no idea how that exists or how people watch it
Yeah.
or why they would believe it.
Yeah.
I get that there's appeal, but I don't know, it just feels very, 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 like, straight fairy tale to me, and maybe it's
Yeah.
so that's so removed from me, I have trouble understanding it.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
there's no camp I feel like there's no, like, camp appeal because I don't feel like it has really found a place among, like, gay
Not that I'm
gay
aware
viewers.
of. No, no, no. It seems very like straight culture. There's like Bachelor Nation and
Yeah,
like
it's
all these
huge.
spin-offs and stuff like that. And I mean, like the generous part of me wants to believe that people want to see people falling in love and that
Sure.
and want to believe in sort of love at first sight and things that are meant to be and all of that. But I cannot help but think about the fact that if I had a client come in and said, I just met someone last week, I'm in love, I would be like, okay, let's slow down.
Let's break this down.
Like,
Yeah.
hold on. I
Yeah,
don't know if you're in
totally.
love. Maybe you have infatuation. Maybe I don't know, maybe there's something about them that you're really connected to. But meeting someone for 2 seconds and then saying you're in love with them raises some alarms. Like, right? Like me
And
saying this
on
like as your
camera,
therapist, I'm worried about you a little bit.
especially if that person was like, "That's all happening, and also it's all being recorded."
Yeah.
So my
Then I'd
mom
have
can
more
see it,
questions. I'm like, what is going
my babysitters, my old babysitters can see it,
Yeah.
everyone can
Yeah.
see it. It's like, that sounds like the most unnatural, um, unappealing, and bizarre situation for to ever happen in life,
Yeah.
and yet people follow it and I feel like they believe it, and
I think so
I don't get
too.
it at
I think so
all.
too.
I don't get it at all. I don't
Yeah.
get it
Yeah.
at all. It
It's
seems like the craziest premise to me.
it's too difficult for me to suspend disbelief. It's one of the reasons why, and again, this is not an indictment on anyone who likes Housewives. I like it's not. I don't turn my nose up at people who love reality shows or
Me either.
Housewives. But
No.
when from what I've gathered, right, from the bits and pieces I picked up on, the one thing that I just can't, I'm like, I can't enjoy this is the vacations they go on. And I'm like, wait
Right.
a minute. So they hate each other. They're all in a fight and they're going on a
Going
trip
on a vacation.
together. I
Yeah.
barely go on trips with people I like. There's some
Yeah,
people I like that
totally.
I'm like, I love this person, but I know they snore. I'm not going on a trip with them. Like, or I love
Absolutely.
this person, but I know that they like their room temperature to be 90 degrees. I
Right.
need it to be a cool 68 in my room. Like,
Yep.
this is not going to
68,
work.
please.
So
Totally.
this like the idea that two people that were just screaming at each other the day before, throwing
Yeah.
drinks at each other the week before, are now going to the Bahamas and sharing a room.
Well,
I
not
can't.
just that, but the worst part of that too is that they're going on a free trip and like I'm just thinking of New York, I don't know any other ones, but like they're gonna go and they're gonna misbehave and they're gonna be classist and they're gonna like be so patronizing to the staff and the hospitality and it's like
Yeah,
and the service and it's like, oh, I can't stomach
it's
this. I can't
too.
stomach
I'm
this.
so uncomfortable. My skin is like itch. It just like it starts to itch. I just because then I'm
Yes.
imagining what because then I put myself in their shoes and I'm just like kind of vicariously going through these things with them. And I'm like, there are
He
so
wouldn't.
many steps before
Yes.
that I would have said no to that like
Yes,
I
before you say,
just,
"Get my bags,"
yeah,
or like you don't say thank you to the private chef,
yeah,
on your free trip,
right.
or you complain about like, I don't know, I know it's all a TV show, but at the same time, it's like, that behavior is so grotesque that it's really hard to watch. It's
Yeah.
really hard to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. I
And they
would
used
prefer,
to spin it on New York, they would spin it, like, for this one woman, Ramona, she was on the show for a long time,
okay.
and she really is just awful, like,
Huh.
she's an awful person, she's perfect for TV,
Right.
but she's genuinely weird in that I'm like, I think she has some sort of neurological issues that have been undiagnosed. Just the way
Oh,
her body works and her
okay.
machinations, her
Okay.
body and her speech, everything about her is very odd, and it's
Yeah.
fascinating to watch, but she is such a bad person. She's, of
Yeah.
course, deeply
That's what I hear.
religious,
Yeah.
huge Trumper,
Yeah.
outwardly racist,
Yeah.
and, very, very MAGA, but on top of all of it, they used to play up as a joke how rude she is to the staff, like, the service, and honestly, people of color, and I was like, I this bums me out, like, I can't really watch this anymore because
Yeah.
she bums me out that she's continuing to get famous, get views, get followers, get payment, get rewarded for
Yeah.
acting like a fucking
Yeah.
asshole.
Yeah.
And I
There's
can't be
no
complicit.
yeah, there doesn't seem to be any consequences. Like you said, she gets
No.
rewarded and praised for terrible behavior. And the takeaway is the worse I am, the
Yep.
more praise or more
Yep.
money or more followers I get.
Yes.
Even though many of those followers, I
They're
would
hate
imagine,
watching.
yes, right. They're
Totally.
not like, I love you.
They're not coveting her.
I'm a fan. I want to see what batshit crazy thing you do next. I
Yes.
want to see what terrible thing you do next, which again is
And possibly
bums me out.
and possibly get like actually face the consequences for that.
Mm,
But ultimately, even if she were to quote unquote face the consequences on the show, the big picture is she's making money, she's having more
mm,
exposure, anything
mhm.
connected to her is continuing to be bolstered, and like she's only winning. She's
Yeah,
only winning.
yeah, yeah.
And that's like, but then again, it's like, oh, I hate living in a culture where I'm like actively rooting against people, but they make it so easy to
They
root
make it
against them.
right, right. It
And it's
does
like,
seem by design. I mean,
yes, it seems by design, but across the board now, that's how it, again, it sort of feels like that's like the flattening of everything.
yeah,
Everything feels flattened and meritocratized in a way that's like dangerous and upsetting.
yeah. I would
Sorry to be a
No, no,
sourpuss.
no. I think I'm getting the sense that most people feel the same way. I'm hearing a
Yeah.
lot of similar sentiments, not just from folks, not just from entertainers like yourself, but even just like everyday folk, that are in like medicine, law,
Yeah.
the plumber. They're all just like similar sentiments. I would almost maybe like appreciate or enjoy if like when the housewives ladies went on vacation, if they were just like, oh yeah, so as part of our contract, we have to go on this trip. So now I have to
Yes.
go on this trip
I
with
would love that.
these assholes that I hate, and then
Break the
watching
fourth
them
wall.
deal with that, I would be like,
Yes.
oh, this is compelling to me because you signed a
Break that
contract and you
fourth
have to do
wall.
it.
Yes.
Yes, that I would
Stop.
actually kind of enjoy
Pretend.
seeing.
Pretend less.
Pretend like go figure on a
Genuinely.
reality show. Yeah,
Pretend less and to be more honest about what's going on. I want to see that.
I would
Show
love
me that.
I would love to see, yes, them complaining about like, I fucking hate that I signed up for this. Like,
Yes.
I can't
Yes.
believe I'm being
Yes.
forced to go on this
Yes.
goddamn trip.
Yes.
I tried to get my lawyer to get me out of it. There's no loophole. Like that, I would be like, oh, I'm
Yes.
listening now. Yeah.
Like I'm a huge fan of Howard Stern.
Uh-huh.
And it comes with this disclaimer because I used to be like, ew, he's like a racist and a misogynist and he's
Yeah.
just grotesque. And my friend, who's like incredibly intelligent, has exquisite taste, teaches media literacy
Oh
in
wow.
New
Okay.
York. To like, he's like,
He knows his shit.
he knows his shit. He was like, no, you would love Stern, you'd love it. And I'm like, no, he's terrible. He's like, you're thinking of like old Stern. He's like,
Yeah.
ever since he went into psychotherapy in 2005, maybe if not earlier, he has completely evolved.
No way. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, so he's the most empathetic, um, like, he's a huge advocate for gay rights, queer rights, trans people. He talks
Wow.
like, the way he thinks and talks about women is wildly different, but his reputation precedes him.
Yeah.
So it's like
Hmm.
it's a and he still makes fun of that people are like, "He's disgusting," and he's
Right.
like, all right."
Right.
But, like, what's great about his show is that somehow, and I don't even know if this was by design, the drama, like sort of reality show of his show is that they have turned like the regular staffers, like people who like work on the show into on-air drama and conflict.
Gotcha.
And it's too you couldn't fake it because it's so specific.
Yeah, I see what
And
you
it's also
mean.
not as important as Howard. Like you just don't care as much as Howard, but you get so invested in it because it's real. It's
Yeah, yeah.
actual real conflict that's too specific to make up.
Oh,
And it's like that was the
interesting.
greatest thing about like early reality shows, that
Right.
it was like the small stuff became the points of conflict
Yeah. Mhm.
versus like big crazy
Over the
actions that are
explosive, over the top.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. That, an explosive moment, one season of like the real world, I remember it often revolved around like there's one explosive thing that happens,
Yeah,
and with reality shows now, every episode someone is going absolutely just like unhinged, and I'm like, it
correct.
can't be explosive every
Nope,
day. It can't. It
it can't.
just
It
it
can't.
just can't be.
It can't.
No one has the emotional bandwidth for that. Nobody.
I've
So
I've been you know, I've been watching, like, I'm sorry, you go ahead. I didn't
no, no,
mean
no.
to cut you
Please
off.
finish your thought.
I was like, I saw there was a new, season of Project Runway, and I
Yeah.
haven't watched in, well, I don't know, 20,
So yeah,
15 years, I don't know, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I hadn't thought about it in a long time, and I watched it, and it was very fun. However, the people on it were, again, like, and this is not their fault or whatever, but, like, they are reality TV trained. They
yeah,
knew
yeah,
how to dress for confessionals, they knew how to deliver one-liners, they knew how to try to brand themselves, they knew how to amp up conflict, and
yeah.
it took away a little bit from the artistry of the show, but nonetheless, I watched it, it was fun, it was
Because
interesting.
Utica is on there,
He
right?
Yeah, he was on the show and was a top finalist, didn't win, but was a finalist and was
I mean, to
incredible.
your point, right? Like this is someone who's
Oh my
maybe not
god.
formally, but like media
Sure.
trained and
Media trained.
savvy
Exactly,
for sure.
exactly. So he knows what he's doing. Anyway, ultimately, it's like I was like, "Oh, I wanna go back and watch older seasons." I had a friend who was on a season, so I watched his season, and I keep going back further and further, and it's like, "Oh my god, the show that was hugely popular, influenced like, was the reason that Drag Race became sort of like a full-on parody."
Hmm.
You know, like, it influenced society, it had such a stronghold over, like, society in a lot of ways. The show is so placid and slow, and when conflicts happen, it's like artisans, like, they're not, like, screaming.
Right.
They're like artisans making, like, quiet passive aggressive digs,
Yeah.
you know? It's not They're not
Which
performing,
is how it
and
is
it's
in real
so
life. Yeah.
exactly, and it's so fascinating to watch that because it's like it's like quiet, normal people doing quiet, normal things even when their tempers are high
Yeah.
or
Even when
they're
they're seething
sad,
inside.
seething.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating, and also on top of it, it's like they're making content and drama out of 10-hour days where people are silently working in a like, sewing.
Right. So yeah.
What? That's a hit TV
Wait,
show, but
that
it
is
was.
impressive. Putting it that way, I'm like, oh, that's impressive to make content
So
out of
many
that.
hours while these people are just quietly sewing. It's crazy. It's just but also, like, at the end of the day, these people are also delivering a product out of their artistry, and it's like, "Oh, I forget that too."
Yep.
That's you forget that too. Not everything is about singing or I'm sure, like, baking is, like, understandably, like, that's a presenting a thing, but, like, if it's, other than singing, I'm not really sure what other competitions carry this type of artistry in the way
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there are artisans making clothing in a day. It's remarkable,
Yeah.
you
It's
know? So I've
insane.
been really invested because of that, like, nostalgia factor and seeing I'll call it slow reality TV is, like,
Yeah.
so interesting. Real
I
teeth, real skin, sweating, like, the real thing.
I want to encourage nostalgic watching of older reality shows, especially because of the pacing. I think we're we've become so accustomed to, these bite-sized sort of nuggets of content. We're become accustomed to a pacing that's like light speed. And I actually kind of like the idea of training your
Yeah.
brain to slow down and look
Yeah.
at normal looking people or average looking people or people who just haven't gone through a ton of surgery, kind of just be for a little bit, and it's not
Yeah.
as explosive and intense
No.
and glitzy and glammy. I think that would be good for us to like let's
I
watch old seasons of like Real World or old seasons of like Drag Race even. I think
Yeah,
like
it's
I
so
think that would be
slow early
good for
on.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, even in early Drag Race, like, they look so like, in their confessionals, they're dressed so schlubbily,
Yeah.
and it's like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
so." It's like, "Oh my god, that's so 2010 West Hollywood," like,
Yeah.
flip-flops,
Yeah.
Bermuda shorts,
Yeah,
capri
of
pant like,
course.
they look like garbage, and it's, like, incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible to see, like, that lack of self-awareness, even though they're actual drag queens.
Yeah.
Um, but, oh, you made me think of something, like, uh Oh. When you talk about slowing down, it's like I doom scroll on Instagram, but I can't handle TikTok because it feels there's something about it that the pacing feels so frenetic
Yeah.
and so loud
Yeah.
and so outrageous that it actually freaks me out. And
Mhm.
I guess that marks me as like a fuddy duddy millennial, but it freaks me out.
Yeah.
It's too fast, it's too intense, and it's like a roller coaster, and I can't really handle it, even though I am fully aware that there are certainly parts of TikTok that I think are really fascinating, like people giving their hot takes that are really interesting and eloquent and educated,
Right.
or like really candid, weird moments and slice of life things that are really beautiful or odd or artistic. I know there's so much interesting content that is like brain tickly,
Right. Right.
but at the same time, I feel like so much of it and the structure of TikTok in general is so psychedelic that I cannot handle it.
Yeah. I feel like, I'm gonna segue a little bit into Broad City for two reasons.
Sure.
One, anyone listening, again, just my mom, is gonna be like, ask him about Broad City. But two, I think there is something here that's relevant to like that style of TV show also. Like this idea of like, I don't know, there was just something about the pacing of Broad City and the style and I don't know, it just felt tangible. I don't know, it just felt like
Yeah.
accessible. That's the word I'm looking
Yes.
for. It was like so funny and so accessible, and it wasn't I don't know, I feel like it wasn't trying to be I don't know, like it wasn't trying too hard. Like as a cliche as that sounds, and maybe that's like an intellectually lazy take, but that is sort of how it
No, I mean,
felt. It's
it
like,
was a buddy comedy
yeah, yeah,
and just imbued by people with this, written by people with a very specific view who were quite honestly taking from like we were all making stuff on YouTube,
right,
but
right.
it's like even if you were to even go look at that, like old web series like Broad City, like the stuff that I was doing, our friends were all making videos and sketches
Yeah,
that were you would have no patience to watch it now, especially someone younger,
you're right,
because it's too slow.
right, right.
But I think that also helped us, you know, uh, um, maybe subconsciously really understand storyline and really delve
Mhm.
into like storyline and vulnerability and knowing how to like heighten characters and action to really push viewers to get some to feel like rewarded by watching it.
Yeah,
And
I
so I
love
think
a slow burn. I
yeah,
love
slow burn.
I love a show or a piece of art that makes me like it encourages me to like sit tight, like
Yes,
watch the space.
yes,
This is
yes.
gonna unfold, this is gonna, the
Just
payoff
enjoy
is gonna,
this.
just sit with it, and I
Yeah,
miss that so much from TV shows.
yeah,
And I
especially
felt like
like
Broad
bingeable
City
ones.
like kind of made you work for it in like a good way.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you have
totally,
to stick with it, and then you're gonna see
totally,
this thing evolve in this beautiful way. You're gonna see this friendship
fully.
evolve in this beautiful way.
Yeah, I think it just kind of came naturally to the right to being to writing on it, and like it was just kind of imbued with that spirit from day one,
Mhm.
and um, yeah, I think it just I think we all it was also kind of like it felt like the last bastion of this like almost artisanal approach to TV,
Mm,
where it came from
mm,
a DIY actual like experiment with YouTube.
right.
It came from that. It came from like just the girls hustling for they worked so hard on making like 40 something episodes of a show in a way that was very front facing
Yeah.
and ahead of its time,
Oh yeah.
and but that I think made them as prepared as you could possibly be to essentially skip the line of like work climbing the ladder,
Mm,
from writer's assistant to a writer to a producer, like climbing that ladder or making the direct, the lateral move in from like comedian to like we need you on the show as a voice.
right.
It was like this was all a do it yourself project that came from their hearts and souls that they crowdfunded and like it was, I guess artisanal is really the right word
Yeah.
for that. It's
Yeah.
like very bespoke, do it yourself, and it translated really beautifully onto TV because it still felt like that. It maintained that spirit, albeit with like a little bit more of a budget. Not that much,
Yeah.
but a little bit more.
I get the sense now too. So part of what I can sense from the show was just that it was like y'all's baby, that it was like their baby.
Mm,
It was like something that they cultivated and cooked for a while, and
it
things feel
was
so rushed
so
lately,
rushed.
and you can
Yes.
see it. I mean, it's
Yes.
just. I mean, there's no other way to put it. You can just tell. You can just see it.
Yep.
And I'm like, did you make
That's
this in a
fully
week? Like,
That's
chill
exactly
out.
true.
Chill
That's
out.
exactly right. It's so rushed and um it feels so frenetically like we're just trying to get this done
Yes. Yes.
and not make it resonate, but just make it entertain.
Yeah.
And if you have the chance to let something cook, which again, at the same time, like that's just not the model anymore. Like you
Yeah.
have to the budgets are really tight
Yeah.
and like it just is the way that it is. Like I
Right.
worked on New Girl. We had the last season I was there, we had 22 or 23 episodes, and that was frenetic as fuck. Like
Yeah.
you can't imagine how insane that was.
Yeah.
But I've also worked on shows where we had more time to cook,
Right.
a longer time to like spend in the writer's room, maybe a little bit more room between writing and production, and that we were given more room to just like genuinely like let ideas marinate
Hmm.
and not rush to churn it out.
Hmm.
And you can definitely tell the difference.
Yeah.
You can
I
tell the
mean,
difference.
agreed. Agreed. I'm thinking of, in hearing you talk about the DIY aspect of it all, of the show, I'm thinking about like your grandfather with his camera, like
Yeah,
making his own sketches.
fully.
And it feels like such a part of your family's legacy to
Yes.
kind of like, well, then I'm gonna do it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not
I
saying okay, I'll do it.
Yep.
We'll figure it out and I'll do it.
Yep. Fully.
I think
That's
that's like
fully
such
it.
a cool part of y'all's like DNA. Like it just seems to like really shine through,
Yeah.
even in your like in your home videos as you as kids. Like it's like,
Yep.
oh, I'm seeing, oh, like that trait, that
Yeah.
ability, not only to perform, but the like ability to cultivate something and to work harder. It's like to be diligent. It's just like
Yes. Like
always
it's so
been there.
dorky and it's so dorky and
Oh, it's
and
dorky
it's
in the best way.
no, I'm saying it's so dorky in a really appealing way in that
Yeah.
it's like these kids are such dorks, but like it's not just like turning on pressing record and being silly.
Right.
There was like title cards and
Yeah.
scripts and
Yeah.
graphics and like it was all very DIY in that like we had a box of props, but it was like we weren't like spoiled brats or
Right.
anything. So
Right.
we had like Alana and I would literally use like two pom poms as wigs. We had like three different types of hats, one pair of like giant sunglasses from like shit we collected at like bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Like we weren't going out to costume shops or
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
just using whatever we had, building blocks, like genuinely. But that is what makes it so lovable. It's
Yeah.
like two
Yes.
kids using whatever was around to make content or whatever you want to call it for nobody,
For
literally
no,
for
right.
nobody.
Right.
Like that's the genuine, authentic, earnest charm of it is inherently built into it just because it was meant for nobody else. It was
Right.
resourcefulness meant to only bring ourselves joy and occasionally like whichever grandparent we could make I could like force into watching the videos straight through and they're like,
Yeah.
it's great, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. Anybody else hungry? You know?
Right. Right. The other thought I had was like, technically, this means that you and Alana have been coworkers for
Yeah.
decades. Like, this is maybe like the best working relationship on
Yep.
earth because you've had so much
Yeah.
time to practice and to
Yes,
hone
but I
it.
will say that the I will definitely say that the roles have switched in that I was such a boss. I was so like bossy and like just like really like wore the pants.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a disciplinarian, and we have totally switched where I'm just like. I think more like she's so like self-aware and self-knowing and knows what she can do and she is just like a boss in that way and
Hmm.
not bossy but just like a boss in that
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
and I'm more I'm confident and I'm self-aware, but I think I'm a little bit more gingerly about it
Yeah.
for whatever reason, and for better or worse, quite
Right.
honestly,
Right.
but like we've definitely like swapped, I think, swapped that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's
I
just like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And
right.
I'm like, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes,
Right.
ma'am, yes, ma'am.
I don't know. It might be kind of, I mean, I would imagine to go from the one, like, like as you put it, wearing the pants to like, I'll follow. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
you lead. You tell me what to do. Why
exactly.
not? Like,
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
joy to be had in that
very
as
much.
well, for sure.
Yeah, just being like, yeah, yeah, you tell me what works and I'll just do that
And I'll just
because
do, yep,
I trust you.
right. Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
But is that it is also obviously it's like, yeah, a working relationship from like diapers,
Right.
from
Right.
diapers.
You just can't. You can't manufacture that. Like you
No, you
just,
literally can't.
yeah, that's God,
Literally can't.
that is so awesome.
Yeah.
So Elliot, now is the time. So there's a question that I ask all my guests, which is, what is one piece of wisdom or advice that you've gotten from the mental health slash therapy world? So something from, like, it could be a podcast, something from your own therapist, something from a book that you take with you everywhere you go. That is like a thing you live by.
Yeah. It's really, really, really hard. And I do not do it all the time. I'm not successful at it all the time. But my therapist is very adamant about sitting with hard feelings
Yeah, you're
and like
so
having to
this isn't a video thing, but I just want to tell the listeners, as he's saying this, he had the most like sincere like sigh, like hard. I
it's
felt that. I
true.
felt that,
Ugh.
and I feel that, and I'm right there with you. I'm right there
Oh
with
my
you.
god, it's so painful. But he's like, his thing is like, you have to like, you don't. He's like, you can choose not to, but he's like, the only way you really get through hard stuff is to try
Mhm,
and sit in the discomfort of it all.
mhm.
And like, I'm somebody who's like wants to be distracted at all
Yeah,
times. I want to be like on the go and and n- and not necessarily face what makes me uncomfortable.
yeah,
And it's so hard to actually do that, to
right,
sit. But it is, unfortunately, it literally is the only way to overcome something, because anything else you do is just avoiding something that will likely fester and either come out later or come out in like demented ways.
yep. Oh,
It'll come out in a different way. But then there's another piece of advice that also never left me from a prior
please.
therapist, because I've been with my therapist for like, at this point, over 10 years, and
Okay.
he's a dream. But
In LA,
before him,
out in LA as
oh,
well.
no, he's in New York. He's
Oh,
in New
cool.
York.
Okay, awesome.
One of my early therapists, in my very early 20s, was lovely. But he said something that blew my mind once, which was like, I was like really dealing with like a break. I was coming close to like a break when I was writing my first book. The responsibility of it became too much too
Mm,
soon. And as I was dealing with this and really just kind of like getting closer and closer to the edge of like what would be a nervous breakdown, he was like, he called them, there are no gods of the moods, meaning there are no like gods in the clouds who are inflicting m- like moods and feelings upon you.
huh.
He's like, it is all within you.
Yeah.
So it's not external forces. Obviously stress is real,
Sure.
but
Sure.
like, I was like, why is this happening, why is this happening, why is this happening? And he's like, it's not happening from the sky.
Right.
Nobody's shooting you with lightning and making you depressed or
Right.
anxious or
It's you.
whatever it is.
It's you.
It's in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's unfortunately the hard truth, is like, it's in you. It's not external.
Right. Those two pieces of advice, I feel like they're related. There's something with like sitting with the reality of something and reflecting, because that's what happens when you sit with it, right? I often get this question like, well, what does that mean? What do you mean sit with it? Like, just be sad? And I'm like, well, there's a little more to it than that. You reflect on the sadness. You try to like
Yes.
understand what is
Why do I
going on
feel like
here.
this?
Why do I feel like this? Why is it so intense? And also, what's the story that the sadness is spinning right now?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you have to sit with like where that comes, and in order to understand that, you have to sit with the discomfort of all of that and like face some
Yes.
really uncomfortable messages or stories or memories, because whatever intense feeling you're feeling now, it's all connected to something that happened before. It's always
Yes.
related to something that happened before. It just kicks it all up.
And even if it's not, even if it's from like the present, like even if what you're dealing with is like the discomfort of something that is happening now, it's like,
Right.
oh, again, unfortunately, you have to like sit and just ask yourself, not like, why do I feel this way and who's causing it? But it's like, why do I feel this way? Why do I,
Why do I? Right.
me,
Right.
why do I personally feel this way? Oh, it's because that person or that force is making me sad. But it's like, but why am I sad?
Right.
It's
Right.
not just A to B. It's like,
Right.
what what are they doing that's not even them? Like, what action are they doing that makes me
Right.
subjectively sad or mad or whatever it is? What action is happening that actually, and why, and what, like finding the true, reasoning behind just the behavior is,
Yeah.
I think, the hard part of sitting with something.
Yeah, because you're having to do some digging to
Yes.
understand, like, okay, so there's something unique to me that is being activated in this moment,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yep.
Because someone else might experience something similar, and maybe they'll be a little sad, but they're like not as sad or they're not as upset.
Exactly.
So you have to sort of
Totally.
ask yourself, okay, so what's going on with me uniquely? Like, what does this
Yes.
reflect about me uniquely? Not in a pathological way, like, but in a, again, like, what is my relationship to what's going on and why
Yeah,
is it
exactly.
this way?
Why is it this, like, why does this like synapse or whatever
Yeah, yeah,
light up from this
totally,
event? What is that?
totally.
And it might be a really hard answer.
Hmm.
It
Yeah,
often is like
yeah,
such a hard answer that's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, it's because, I've resented, or I have felt betrayed by,
yep,
or I feel responsible for.
yep,
It's one of those, it could be one of those things, and it's like,
sure,
oh, Jesus.
yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. This is real.
Yeah, it really,
And
I mean, and that's how I think, you're putting in the effort when you go, okay. That's like, yeah, that means that's the effort. That's usually what it looks like. It's rarely, aha moments that are invigorating are great. And I
yeah.
love them, right? And they can happen. Most of the time, it is okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right, here we
Okay.
go. Buckle up. Here we
But
go.
what's great about that in a way too is that in that in that sense, it actually allows you to realize like your pathos or your ethos, but more so it's like you can actually take the onus off of the person who is
Yes.
making you feel that way,
Yes.
because what they're doing is almost secondary to how they're making you feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is where agency lies. And where agency lies is where choice lies. And then you get to make a choice.
Yes.
And
And you
that,
get to forgive or move on, or
right.
you get to decide how you're going to deal with, say, this person
Yep.
or this force or this action that's happening, or
This
this whatever
moment,
is going on, this
yep.
moment.
Yep.
You get to
Absolutely.
decide how to deal with it in a way that it feels healthy for
For
you,
you.
but also, if you choose to, that it feels empathetic and kind, hopefully,
Yeah.
to that other person,
Yeah.
or the situation itself.
Right. That
You know?
that's the hope, right? And that is what I often talk to my clients about when we discuss why sit with your feelings. It's exactly for that. The hope is that you reach a place of almost like calm
Yes.
in you owning your
Yes.
experience, in
The
you
reality of it.
recognizing, yeah, and accepting your agency and realizing, oh, I have a say.
Yep.
Actually, I have a say in what I do. I have a say in what I'll tolerate. I have influence over the situation. And yeah, and that means potentially having some understanding, I'll say, for like the human condition, right? Which is like, then you look at the other person and you're like, oh yeah, they're a human too, also
Yes.
struggling with their own shit. And they're like,
Yes.
oh, right. Everyone's
One of
just kind of trying to figure it out.
one of like the biggest things that I've learned from like screenwriting is that when you write a villain, a villainous character, it is so helpful to imagine and try to decide why they have become villainous.
Yeah.
What is the thing that
Mm.
what in their origin story pierced them
Mhm.
and hurt them so much that pushed them to do this?
Yeah.
And once you figure that out, you can write for that character in such a clear way
Yeah.
instead of just that they're this sort of two-dimensional,
Bad
id.
villain.
Yeah,
Right. I
yeah.
want to take over the
Instead,
world.
they're
Yeah.
yes, and instead it's like, oh, what in their pathology is the thing that actually made them act like this? And that's how it is with everybody. It's like, what in my pathology makes me react to that person like this, or the
Yeah.
way they treat me? What's inside of me
Right.
that is causing me to feel these feelings? And how can I respect them while also having respect for the other person or the situation?
Yeah. It informs so much of what you do. So to your
Yeah.
point, right, when you're writing a character that's a villain, you go to their origin story, you find that moment that sort of changed them forever, and then that is what informs all of their decisions throughout the story, right?
Yeah, well, it's like what does the worst day in their life look like? What is the most
Mm,
vulnerable what is the most the most intense moment of vulnerability look like for them?
yeah.
And what as a child was the thing that was the most impactful to them?
Yeah.
And usually you can come up with stuff that then creates something linear to their turn
Right.
toward the darkness.
Right. I mean, thank you so much for dropping some tips for
Oh,
anyone
there you
that
go.
wants to write. I mean, that's so that is
Screenwriting
so
101.
helpful. I really
But that's why we
appreciate
like
that.
Wicked, that's why we love Wicked
Yeah,
or, like,
yeah,
The
yeah.
Joker or whatever, like,
Right.
Wicked is so fascinating because it's like, it's taking a villain
Hmm.
and making us root for her.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And then, like,
compelling stuff.
I got to see a screening of the sequel already,
Oh,
and
nice.
in it, it's great, but people in the theater just kept going, "Mm," because
Oh,
so much of what they were talking about was Trump.
oh gosh.
So much of what was being said was about the nature of a villain and
No
meant for the audience
way.
to see
Okay.
the irony of it. And it was so allegorical for Trumpism and the
Yeah.
way the world is now that people were literally going, mm-hmm,
Mm.
mm-hmm.
I am so
Yep.
guilty of that. That's like that my therapist hum that I do that so
Yes.
it is such a cliche, but I
It's
mean,
so
but it's
Oprah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Very Oprah, very Iyanla.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, now I'm really excited to watch the sequel and to
Oh, it's
be
great.
hopefully I have the same experience. I want to with other people
Well, it's,
as
you know
well.
what I'll say? It's like, it's a little less exciting than the first part.
Okay.
I think that's bound to just be the case because
Sure.
of defying gravity and whatever.
Right.
And I didn't even expect to care that much about the movie, but I loved the first one.
Yeah,
The
same.
second one it's excellent. It really is excellent. It feels like just a little bit there's like less stakes,
Okay.
but the cerebral approach toward actually trying to dissect the idea of the villain
Yeah.
and versus innocence is
Mm,
really sophisticated
yeah.
and really like I think the most like resonant part of the movie. And
It
by the
makes
end, it's like,
me
oof.
it's art like that makes me think, did you have a therapist that you consulted
Yeah,
with? Like there's
fully.
because the sophistication that you're referencing, 'cause sometimes and and that's maybe taking away, maybe someone's just like a really great writer and they just like know, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's things like that that make me go, there was a therapist on set, wasn't there? Or there
totally.
was a therapist
Yes.
in the writer's room, wasn't there? Because of that level of nuance and like holding multiple conflicting truths at the
Yeah,
same time that I
yeah,
really appreciate because
yeah. It's
that's how
nuance.
life Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
yeah,
life
because
is.
that's how life is, right? So
Yeah.
when I see it reflected back at me, I'm like, this is this is art. This is
Yes.
yeah, for
It's
sure.
the best.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
best.
Oh, Elliot, thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank you.
again being
My
on
pleasure.
my little show. I really appreciate you taking the time off. Yeah, I think you guys know the deal. I am a therapist, but this podcast is no substitute for good old-fashioned therapy. So take what's useful, leave the rest, and don't forget, therapy makes you hotter. Bye.